is not likely going to look like a Texas tornado. I don't think it's anything quite like that, but we can see lowering of the base right here on the front. Not necessarily like a wall cloud. I'm sorry? Oh, that is right there. See a little foot right there? Right there, this little notch. A wall cloud probably right there. Yep. You see that, Brian?
Yeah, absolutely. You're looking at it. It's not a completely organized wall cloud, but it's there's definitely some rotation in there, some lift in there as well.
Right. So now again, we're in Grayson looking at this. This is just up to the north. If you take actually it's out by the AA highway, and then even north of the AA as you continue on up.
And the wind is picking up there.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some more of the flags there.
Yep. So again, out by Greenbow, out by the state park, you want to be really careful out there. Argolite. You want to make sure that you're in your shelter as we speak. We're watching this storm that is tornado warned. Have eyes on it here. We're continuing to see if we can pick anything else out of that. That is kind of a weakly defined kind of a wall cloud. It looks wall-ish. Yeah, now this is kind of breaking apart here. But we're going to watch back here. We're just going to be patient and go with this because obviously it's not every day that we have a tornado warned storm that comes into view. And we're not saying that this is on the ground. This is a rotation, strong rotation, showing up on the Doppler radar, and that is really strong rotation right there.
I mean, that's exactly what we're looking at on that camera. Is that right there? And that's some really good rotation there.
I'm trying to read the, this is where you go on up, and if you made the turn, then you're going to go up the AA. So it's already looked like it's crossed the AA just north of there. But if you continue, you're going to go on up, as I mentioned. I've done that many times with the kids, right? You take them out to the state park. So that's it gets out into some of the country here, some open country. But we're watching, and we're not seeing them. We're glad. Look, we're not rooting for it. But this is rain wrap.
There's some really good inflow into this storm here, so that's definitely happening. The wind is being sucked into this for sure.
Yeah. Chris, I'll ask you on weather too, if you can zoom into that particular storm, that'll be up in the box in the upper left, the one right there. Yeah, the one with the red. There we go. If we zoom into that, then we'll have that up on the display the whole time. So there's your warning again, and that's your tornado warning until 2:30. This is rain wrap. That's a problem, Brian. It's not going to be something that is easily seen.
It's not going to be out ahead of this by any means.
No, it's going to be hard to see this. So we want to let everybody know again, if you're in Grayson proper, that's not where the storm is. But this is likely going to continue out this way, and if it does, that'll scrape out toward I-64. Anybody on the Industrial Parkway, for sure, wants to get off that road, get into some shelter. The north side of this up toward Greenup, that's going to be throwing hail out your way. So, and big wind too. We continue to watch. If there was going to be something coming down to the ground, it would be back here in this portion of the storm. That's not connecting to the ground. That is not. This is really low though. That's not connecting to the ground. But this is probably where we would see something cooking right there. I don't know if we have anything on the debris tracker or not on that. We can check that out.
Yeah.
This is still kind of broad rotation. I understand the warning. That is showing us, so this is what we're looking at. Is there debris there, or is that just maybe some hail? It could be both. And with lots of leaves could be contained in that. I think that's hail. Certainly that's wind, though, and that this could be some real damaging wind coming out into Hopewell and Old Town. Argolite's up here. So, I mean, we're talking about a real small pocket we're defining for you here. There's Crane Creek right there. And let's see, picking out the roads there. That's State Highway 1, of course. That continues on up. And that drops on over the other side over into Greenup County. These other warnings continue. Look at this cell is tracking right along what other cells have been today. But it's part of a complex of storms. That other one to the south is wrapping too hard down in, I think that was the Prestonsburg area. That one is starting to wrap too. But there's our tornado warned storm. Look at that guy right there.
Yeah.
That's in Johnson County. So we want you to watch out for that. That already has a severe thunderstorm warning. Paintsville proper, get into your shelter now. Dobson and Asa, it's already there. Auxure, Callista. Now this is probably a little bit more of an outflow, but there's wrap there. There's clear wrap, clear spin. And boy, in Paintsville proper, it's hammering the rain. Big wind just going through town as we speak. So you take shelter too. And then we have this cell up here. That's right by Ripley, just north of Ripley. Go up just a little north of town. But the kind of the wrap back on this too, The hook echo is still just basically moving toward Ripley. So anybody in this area, Jackson County, from Ripley to the north, you want to get into your shelter now. We don't see anything that looks like super tight rotation, but that's a lot of wind. Pleasant Hill, Hemlock, that's going to continue its way on up here into the northern portion of the county. But the tornado warned storm, we're still kind of popping back and forth around. Because it's rain wrapped, it's going to be almost impossible to pick that out. I think the rotation portion, Brian, is probably over here within that rain curtain right there, because this is already quiet back here. So
yeah, it's going to take here it's going to take a few seconds for that to move here.
When we move the camera, there's a little delay out there. So we're okay right here on Carroll Malone Boulevard. I mean, obviously there's a warning, so we still want to make sure that people are taking shelter. Getting into a restaurant, getting into the truck stop, things like that. But the worst of this is out here. That's going to continue. And we'll track this one here for you. We'll put a track on that. So it's paralleling I-64. You can say maybe something like that. That's not reaching the ground. Something like that. That's not reaching the ground. But there's so much rain in here, we can't tell if there's something maybe back in there. But I can see why that there's broad rotation. This whole thing is spinning counterclockwise like this. So Carter County again. Carter County, want to be in a shelter. If you're just north of Grayson, if you're anywhere from there, stretched out over into as far east as Boyd County. That's your tornado warning for Carter, Greenup, and Boyd counties until at least 2:30. The base of this cloud is way down low. There's some cloud-to-ground lightning that we just saw right there. We want to not discount that. This is what some kind of a little wall cloud structure trying to form right there. Yeah, Brian's going to show us this. I don't see anything coming up, but man, that's your rotation.
It is rotating, yeah.
That's it.
There's a circular motion to it, but obviously not touching the ground right now.
No, can't really see anything touching the ground, but you do have air rising, going on up into this cloud right there. Doesn't mean that is a tornado, but I would warn that. Absolutely, I would warn that. And of course, we know that we got the meat packing plant over here. It's just basically from your all's parking lot out to the north, and that's going to continue its way on over toward the roadside rest. Out there, there's a big, it's going to be on the north side of the interstate, so it won't interfere with the big gas pump plant there, natural gas station. Again, so here we go. We're getting in there tight. Looking at that again, hail by Argolite. But there's that rep, and we were watching that. And so the wind is going like this, rotating. And let's go ahead and hit the arrow if you don't care. And let's get some towns and some times in there.
Absolutely. It's lost a hair bit of intensity.
Yeah, it has. But it's coming out to Ironville, Little Garner, Meads. Cannonsburg, it's close enough. It's north of Pack told us right now. But Summit, 240, Flatwoods, 240.
Look at that Viper Tornado Index.
That's big.
That's higher than what we've had at any point today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this one is absolutely, potential involved here for this to kick out a tornado. We were watching that. Obviously, you just saw that. We're going to keep toggling back and forth, but that one's important. So this, obviously, hey, look, if you're paying attention over here, Cannonsburg to Colgrove to Ashland.
Look at this. Look at the numbers in the trend. 3.4, 3.6, 3.9, 6.9.
And then it just jumped. So again, let's see. Where's the exit for the Industrial Parkway? That'd be 67, right? So you want to be careful out there right now. Nobody should. I know there's a couple businesses out there. Obviously, there's that road that connects right there. That's a pretty well-traveled road. People want to make sure that they are not anywhere outdoors in that area. And by extension, this is going to come, if it keeps on that track, the hail is probably going to work its way on over to Ashland and Colgrove. So if you know anybody who's out and about, give them a call. Probably could see this one too. We might want to get a look at that from the Ashland camera in just a moment. There's the Grayson camera, and it's going just a little bit out of sight. So this is the rain curtain. There we go. And if we look back, we're going to see it over here on this side. This is looking back into Greenup County. This is over here, of course, into Ohio. Ironton-Russell Bridge right there. But out in the distance, you can see the lowering right there. Doesn't mean there's a tornado on the ground. Doesn't mean there isn't. So we want everybody to take that shelter. Ashland right now, I would tell you, again, there's not a tornado on your doorstep. There's a severe thunderstorm on your doorstep. This is where the tornado warning is, though. Pretty tight box. Sliding right, here's I-64. I know there's a lot going on this map right there, but there's I-64. And then this works its way on over to Colton. So that warning is from Cannonsburg to Meads, Little Garner, and on up to Argolite, okay? It's coming through Old Town right now. That's gotten kind of broad. There's some gate-to-gate, what we call gate-to-gate shear in there. That's gotten a little broad, though, but I think this one could still hold together. So anybody from I-64 north up to Russell, and then crossing the river into Ironton, Coal Grove. We're not sure that that's going to continue to be warned, but it's a severe thunderstorm, even if it doesn't spin by that point.
Yeah,
So
and just so you know, Carter County has been dropped from the tornado warning at this point.
that's good. Okay, so Carter County, you're in the clear, but we're watching this now. So it's Boyd mainly, and a little bit of Greenup County. So from Argolite down here to Cannonsburg is the real area of concern right there. Honeywell, and we're just waiting for new updates here with the radar, but that is going to continue until 2:45. Yep, there's Ashland up in the corner that we're watching, keeping an eye on that. This one obviously could do the damage to anything in its way. It's starting to kind of wrap up too. It's getting more compact. So that means if you think about it like an ice skater,
and just so you know,
when they trill and they pull their arms and they spin quicker, that's the wind.
Just so you know, we are going to lose Ashland here in just a minute or two. We're going to reboot it so we can get back in there and control it. Just an FYI on that one.
Sure, we'll keep an eye on that. So our safety rules again, if you're out ahead of this, we should remind people about that. If you are in a home, right, you want to get inside, away from these windows. You want to get into the interior of the structure. Best thing is in a basement. If you don't have a basement, well, what do? Again, you want to have as many walls between you and the outside as you can. So that's where you go into an interior portion of the house. You can use a bathroom. There's no windows in there, right? Get in there, cover yourself up, and grab some pillows, a helmet. Make sure you have your shoes on. We always say that now because, again, if something does get damaged and you're safe and you go walk outside, we don't want you to step on something and get your foot punctured. So there's a lot going on here. I mean, that's just one cell. These cells are starting to really spin up, ramp up, and the warnings are going to continue now. We're probably going to be on for a while here with you, so bear with us. We appreciate it for those of you who are looking for the shows. Out in the distance, again from Ashland, we're looking at the edge of that. That is kicking out hail by Argolite. Looking at the Louisa cell, that's just getting going. Hurricane, probably need to touch base back in there at some point because that one has looked very ugly. Culloden, it's just mainly north.
Let me get over to that camera here real quick.
That's just north of the interstate. So, oh, there it is. Well, let's watch this for a second. You can see you've got the sheets of rain right now. The good news is we're not seeing the hail. Another thing that's actually good news, somebody got smart and just said, hey, I'm going to go up over by the dealership. There's trees away from me over here. Now that, I'm not thrilled watching somebody head on out, but it looks like that was somebody going out to respond to. That's like a truck that you use to rescue other trucks right there. But you can see the sheets of rain. Hey, if you can, pull off the road,
by the way,
somebody that's the way to do it, not on the side of the road.
Looks like we've had, out of this cell, we've had almost golf ball size hail, $half for sure, but close to golf ball size hail with this thunderstorm. So, and that was hail that happened in Barbersville.
Oh, wow, okay. And I tell you what you don't want to see if you're a car dealer is you don't want to see hail coming to hit all your nice cars on the lot, that's for sure. But we could see the street flooding when that vehicle went through there. I mean, and you can really just pick it up. This is coming down, this is probably going to be a quick inch like that, quick inch of rain. And then the sunshine pops right back out behind it. Problem is we're probably still in this window of a couple of extra downpours even behind that. Interesting to note, that one really has some wrap on it. So you're going to see probably out here what looks like, when you get into Taze Valley, it's probably going to look like to you that there's some funnel clouds, things like that. We don't have any proof of that, but this is a wind-damaging storm with hail, very large, sliding in just south of Winfield. And so Route 34 from Winfield down to I-64, that's not going to be great with all those trees right there. And Route 35, the new 35 as well. Paintsville, man, that cell. It's interesting. It's not wrapping up. It's wrapping, but it's not kicking out what we call gate to gate. So that's just throwing a ton of wind around and hail. That's likely got some hail. Here's your squall line now. And there's the tornado warned storm still. That goes until 2:45, 2:30.
Yeah, that goes until 2:30. And they are going to continue that tornado warning. So
that'll be over here. So we'll tell people probably that's going to likely extend then what, into Coal Grove and Ashland? We'll see if that one does. It's more than likely going to be just south of you, but look, from downtown Ashland all the way down here to the interstate, there's a lot of homes here. So we're going to get you some notice right now. Whether or not they put a tornado warning on that doesn't matter. We want you to go ahead and take shelter and seek those spaces right now because time is of the essence with that. And we don't know if it's on the ground because, again, we haven't seen anything like that. But it's so wrapped with rain, it's almost impossible to tell. So let's treat it as just a big wind maker that possibly could do damage. Might have a tornado involved in that. There's really strong rotation showing up right there. That's some pretty good what we call gate-to-gate shear. That's just continuing now into the Naples, Kentucky area, out here by Little Garner. It's moving to Ironville. We're going to wait, and as you said, any moment now that box is going to jump, I believe. And I can't tell you if they're going to put off sirens in Ashland or Cold Grove. I can't tell you if they are. But I'll tell you this, if you're watching us, you just want to go ahead and get into shelter. Just leave the TV on so you can hear our voice, and it's going to continue out to the east. I'll also tell you this, that if there was a tornado on the ground, you've got it down to a small area. I'm more, again, concerned about the hail, the whole picture, right? That it's the hail, the wind, and the potential for a tornado in here. Those are all big concerns, all right? So don't just focus on the fact that we're showing you red and green at one little point. You want to make sure that you're keeping your eye on the big picture and that warning is likely going to extend on over even a little bit further. So now we're looking back again to the west from the Huntington camera. And, we just got done with one cell, and here comes another one, right?
Yeah.
This is going to be a squall line.
So
There's your Ashland camera.
Yeah, we're back up. So.
Oh my, okay. So we're watching that leading edge. I know that was the iris that did that, but my goodness, did that ever get dark? Wow, it turns into night right there. So leading edge right here, we're looking at, this is looking back out towards 64, and we can't tell if there's a tornado on the ground there or not. We want you to act like there is. This is getting important now. Again, it has been. Well, it's getting more important because we cannot tell. And if that was wow, my goodness, the lightning right there. If there's a tornado in there, obviously we need people to get into shelter in Boyd County, all right? And that probably, let me know if they extend that warning out there to the east.
They have not just yet, but they're definitely looking at, they have said that, let's see here, that Cannonsburg is what they're concerned with. Other locations include Flatwoods, Raceland, and Russell. But right now, up to quarter-sized hail associated with this. Man, if that one raindrop could just move out of the way, we'd have a really good look.
The lightning was really intense there, too. That's going to be the case here. So, again, this is the time for just some calm action if you're in Boyd County. And this is just a little slice of green up still. But in particular for along I-64, let's go from the Industrial Parkway out to the east to Cannonsburg. Let's continue it out to Catletsburg, all right, just by extension, and then on over to Ashland. And look, if we overly do it with how many people go into their safe spot, good, fine. It's better to do it that way than to underdo it. So again, that's where you want to be in your shelter. As we look at that warning, now did they extend that on time? Because we're past 2:30, I think.
We're 2:45.
So they're going to 2:45.
Yeah.
They did not extend that this way, but this is, we're concerned about the hail with that, right? The big rain is already into Ashland and Fairview, Russell. That's hail, so that could be a problem. But the main tornado warned area is right there, Little Garner, just south of Ironville, just north of Cannonsburg. So we're keeping our eye on that.
I mean, when you go, as you go down 60 there, I mean, you're down at many locations down the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, and you got the high school out there, Boyd County High. We're watching that. There you go. We're watching that closely. So you got Boyd County High out there. You got the Federal Corrections Institute out there too. So obviously they're going to do some shelter protocols. Yeah, we can't tell if that's a tornado touching the ground, but I mean, that storm is on the ground. So we need to act like it is. That is not good news. So let's, again, keep everybody out there along that Ironville area, Cannonsburg in particular. We need you to be in your safe spot, down to the lowest level, all right? And if you're in a manufactured home, if it's already there, well, look, we would advise you, if you have some time, to get out. If not, you're going to have to go again to the middle of that and just cover yourself up, okay, if this is an actual tornado on the ground. It's just so hard to tell, but we're going to act like it is because, Brian, that is just, I mean, this is on the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
This part of the storm.
And you look back and there's, this is where you're going to find any little bit of hail.
That's hail more than likely coming into Ashland right now. But this is where we're looking back out toward the south. And this is pretty ugly. So we hope this is not a wide tornado, but we're going to act like it is and tell you again, this is shelter time. This is go time. And so here's Ashland. This is mainly just hail up here, and Ironton, this is just hail. But the wind portion of this, it's kind of big, but you know what? Who cares? Let's just act like it is on the ground. We don't know. It's radar indicated. And it's so wrapped with rain, it's impossible to tell. So this is going to continue its way on out to the east. There's a wind. That's one thing we can tell. That's a lot of wind. Might have some damage out there. So it's already crossed the Industrial Parkway right there just as we speak, and it's coming out to the east. Here's Route 60. You're next. So we know between downtown, come out here at 60. Then we got, of course, the old Kiowa Mall, that area where they're doing a lot of development.
There's some good news there on that cell, though. The Viper Tornado Index is now down to 3.5. So
that's really good. So that did drop. This rotation has turned a lot broader, and I don't know if they're going to continue that warning or not, but we're watching the leading edge of that. There it is. We'll continue to watch that. And that cloud is ugly, and it's raining sideways right now.
The great part about it is we've been able to see it from both the southern side and now the northern fringe of it, but we're about to lose visibility because of all the rain that's just about to, as you can see, it's starting to take over. So
yeah, we're about ready to lose that camera too, maybe with the signal. We'll see. I mean, when it rains that hard into the camera, you know that the wind is howling here, right?
Yeah.
And then here are your power outages. We already have had 4,000 customers in Greenup County, 1,000 in Gallia, 100 Ripley area, that's Jackson. But there again, we're back to this cell. Again, it's just so hard to tell. If there was a tornado, friends, it would be here. See this rain curtain? If we call that rain wrap, it's absolutely impossible to tell if that's on the ground. So what we're using Viper and diagnosing the fact that we can see very strong winds in here and damaging winds, very, very likely, okay? We're not going to be able to pick out whether or not there's a tornado in there. I don't think that's going to be possible.
No,
so let's act as if there is somewhere in that curtain, because the storm is on the ground now to Ironville right there. And that is just a part of this too. Let's remember, you have spinning cells out ahead of this. That's going to, guess where that's hitting? Right at the construction zone, Nitro St. Albans, right there. And then this is going north of there again, Polka, with your very strong damaging winds right there behind that. So Scott Depot area, it's going to slide here, Black Betsy, out over to the Amos Power Plant, just south of Winfield. And it's going to continue on over here, up toward Sissonville again. Look at the hail.
Look at that track of hail just right along and just north of the interstate there.
Right on the interstate. Look at that. Right from Barboursville through Howells Mill, Milton. So we're going to find damage out here. We haven't even had time to look at any of y'all's reports. I mean, feel free to send them in or tweet us, but we'll have to get to those later because we're still in this mode. We're going to be here for a while doing this with this line. What you would hope is that, hey, you get a storm cell and it kind of cools things off. Those cells are not big enough to cool off this action. And this is all being driven by winds upstairs too, so that's not going away either anytime soon, Brian. This is going to be a while.
Yeah, this is, we're now into more of our extended range of, okay, we're settling in showers, storms, and this is when everybody will eventually get some across the area. A lot of these, I've seen a downward tick in some of the intensity as a whole, which is great news.
Yep.
But what we have seen, you and I talked about it, Chris, we've talked about it, how we're looking at all these cells that they increase in intensity, they fall apart a bit, so,
Yep.
and of course, that by the way, that was a reissuance of that severe thunderstorm warning to move it along into parts of Kanawha County and back into southern Jackson County as well.
So that's going to miss downtown Charleston, but again, once you get up here past the curvy parts and get up into a little bit of the straightaway on 77, again, Sissonville area, Pocatalico, you all are going to get hit here with some hail. We want you to be careful with that. And so we're watching that just cross there, but we'll continue with that tornado warned storm. Now, the tail end of that is into Ironville, into Ashland. And yeah, it's amazing how it's just kind of sitting there now. It's turning a little brighter over here, but that's damaging wind. We know that. I'm surprised the camera's still with us here right now at this point. As hard as that is raining, still got some people out in town. Hard to see out on the river. Look at the flags. They're just whipping around.
Yeah, that
is a howling wind. That's severe wind for sure.
And to some extent, I mean,
can't
that's
even see
almost
on the bridge.
Yeah. it's almost a
amazing.
fog that's sitting right there as that rain comes around.
Yep. So as we scan the skies here, looking back over towards Central Park, you know, again, if you're in Canonsburg in particular, and I would say this is going to just continue on to the east, probably Catlettsburg. You want to make sure that you're in your safe spot now.
And we're going to replace that with a severe thunderstorm warning now.
Okay, so on the bottom line, guys, if you could drop that one real quick, the tornado warning on the bottom, that's expired. There it is. Thank you. Severe thunderstorm warning, and now that's going to go until.
Actually, I'm sorry. That's for the one south of it.
Look at that.
Yeah, because so.
Now we're just warning entire big lines.
Yeah,
here,
entire.
right?
As a matter of fact, and there's.
Well, that tornado warning sells out of that box anyhow.
Exactly.
We'll see if that's how they're going to treat that. But you can click on the
No.
Louisa warning right
Yeah.
there, just real quick. Let's see how long.
Yeah, that one's
okay,
good
so
until
that's
3:15.
That's until 3:15, and then we have some more cells developing up here ahead of that, in areas that have already had storms. So basically, you're going to see big long swaths that get warned now for wind. Our tornado warned storm has actually moved out of the box. It's actually just south of Ashland right now, where the rotation is. The rotation's broad, so they've kind of let that one go. Obviously, we're still watching it, but the cloud is on the ground. So, I mean, that's still, there it is. I mean, we're in it. Can't even see. We're
Yeah,
absolutely in that storm. This is Ashland right now. Let's hang with this for a minute. This is pretty wild stuff to look at. I mean, there's the post. We can see it. Look at that. So what we're looking for is,
I mean, watch that. Look at that wind whipping around on the roof up here. Now, mind you,
yeah,
we're almost. What is that? About 18? How tall is that? 18 stories?
yeah,
somewhere in there?
it's probably 10, 12 stories. Yeah. So you're at least 120 feet up in the air, right? But that's, I mean, wow. Look at the wind just whipping through there. And hopefully our antenna stays up because that's pretty stout. Hard to see. You can't even see the bridges.
Yeah,
That's in Ashland.
They're there.
Yeah, they're there. But you can't see them. Can't see a Cold Grove. So obviously you know it's already there. So what's next? All right, so that slides on over toward Canova. It slides over towards Cerrito. Canonsburg, right? It's going to continue that way.
I can tell you this. I've watched that camera in a number of windy events. That was a heck of a wind right there.
Yeah, and then in just a little bit, sunshine's going to pop back out behind that, but not just yet. So this is going to continue on over toward South Point, a little bit in toward Canova. It looks like that's going to go high of Canova, but South Point, you're going to pick up some of that. All right, this is going into the central portion of Lawrence County. Downtown Huntington, will we get scraped by that? Well, we might. It's probably going to have to be this part back here.
Actually, we should just look at that camera for good measure. There it is.
Yep, it's going to be a while, but
Back
we're
to
looking
the
at
west.
that. It's over here. That's what you're looking at. So, yeah, my goodness. All right, so big line of severe storms. Tornado warning, it looks like that is expiring or it has expired.
It will in about 2 minutes.
2 minutes for
yeah,
that
just,
cell
just
right
a,
there.
a shot under 2 minutes. So
Yeah,
now
and then
let's see here. Yeah, it's they're going to allow it to expire
Okay.
all by itself.
which then brings us back to the attention of that cell until 3:15 around the Cross Lanes area through Sissonville.
And that is a new severe thunderstorm warning
Yeah.
there.
And that's going to, I think it's 3:15 on that. That's going to cross I-77. So again, yeah. Look, if you're in Charleston, you're like, hey, again, I need to run up to Ripley. It's been, you just kind of can't get between the two towns today. That's for sure. Ripley, you have a very strong cell right near you, but that big wind coming out of Polka is going to slide on over here to Sissonville within the next 20 minutes or so. So that is worth getting inside already. Like this, hey, what's the problem in getting in 20 minutes early and waiting? No problem at all. So again, if you know somebody up here, Grandma and Papa, Sissonville, Millertown, Pocatalico, and they might be outside, tell them, hey, you got some hail coming your way, shoot them a text, let them know. Say, hey, you might want to go on up in the house because we got this severe thunderstorm coming our way, and it just moved again. So the rain will already be into Sissonville pretty quick. That's a core of some pretty big hail coming again in through Heiser, Winter, and Lanham. Then this warning again goes until at least 3:15. These things are hauling now. Now they're starting to move. So again, we said these will be out of here by like 5 or 6 o'clock. They will, but the problem is they're moving with that wind. And that's the problem. So if they're moving at 40, 50 miles an hour, they're pushing wind 40, 50 miles per hour. And we're going to start to stack up some of the damage reports. I'm positive on that. All right, there it is. There's your squall line. Really cooking. And so the question is, if I'm east of that squall line, am I going to get a piece of that? And the answer is most likely yes. Now, does not mean all of us will get severe portions of that. All of us, more than likely, will receive some heavy rain, some strong wind. Some of us will receive some hail in here. I mean, there's pretty good hail there north of Ripley, isn't there? Individual cells like that are the ones that rotate, and they just, you know, there's wide open. Wind's coming in like this. Wind is, oh, wow, it's really just jamming up the wind. Probably going to hear some reports of, you know, some tree issues out here.
There's going to be a number of trees down there.
Yep, out here by Big Tyler, right? Tyler Heights, Cross Lanes, all this area out toward Pocatello.